Let's get ready. And I want you guys to get crazy, put your hands together, and welcome to the stage my man, my brother, Eran Holt. Pastor Eran, love you, bro.
Love you, man. Woo-hoo! Everybody say, all right, all right, all right. Ooh, not bad, not bad. All right, I got some free stuff. Does anybody want free stuff? I got free stuff. Okay, cool. It's stuff over at the table. Okay, this is like a little dog tag necklace. Anybody want one of these? Ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay, cool. I was just checking. I just want to make sure you're ready, but you're ready. You're ready. Okay. Hat? Anybody want a hat? Anybody want a hat? Anybody want a hat? Anyone want a hat? Oh! No, you can't have it. You're a pastor, dude. You're not allowed to have it. You can't take the free stuff. Give it to, okay, there you go. Okay. And then this is for everybody, just wait. You don't even know what it is yet. You might not want it. I'm just saying. He's like, I know I'm going to want it. Okay, drawstring bag. You can put all, okay. So listen, one of the things that I do in addition to traveling is I am a part of the leadership team for a ministry school, a leadership academy. It's called Allison Park Leadership Academy. It's based out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And if you want to get more information, you can go by the table. Really, really incredible program. And actually, I got a drawstring bag for everybody. Anybody that wants one can get one. You just have to come over to the table afterwards, and you have to get some information. So there you go. There you go. Yes, you got it! Oh, so good. So good. My name is Eran. I'm from Pittsburgh. I'm so glad I've been with you guys all this week. Sunday, the infamous fire alarm service. We survived. We made it. That was awesome sauce, right? That was so good. And then how many of you are LCA students? How many LCA students? All right, so some of you. Okay, so I've been hanging out with you guys the last 2 days in your chapel services. Let's go. All right, and then excited to be here tonight. So very, very cool. Very, very cool. I'm from Pittsburgh. My wife and I. Her name is Julie. We've been married for 25 years. Let's go. Yes. Okay. Come on. It's good. And I don't have a picture to show you, but awesome family. My son is married, and we have a granddaughter now. I'm a cool looking grandfather, right? I'm doing all right. Yeah. And then I got two girls. Sophomore in college, and then junior in high school. How many juniors in high school? Juniors in high school. Okay, cool. All right, awesome. All right. And Pastor Matt mentioned this. I'm a PK. You don't know what a PK is? PK? Pastor's kid. Any pastor's kids here? We have any pastor's kids here? One. Okay. We're kind of weird. Pastor's kids are weird, right? We're close. Like not as weird as homeschoolers, but like close. Like we're like. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. They're homeschool. Yeah, okay, my bad. And also the baby of the family. How many babies of the family we got? Babies of the family? Yes! Babies of the family. Did you know the Bible says the babies of the family are the best members of the family, the most blessed members, the best looking members of the family? I'm just saying. Skylar, I'm sorry, man. You're not the baby of the family. So sorry. You're not the best. I'm just saying. The best members of the family. Also a crazy dog lover. Any dog lovers? Dog lovers? Yes. You have a dog? Okay. By dog, I mean dog over 50 pounds. If your dog's not over 50 pounds, that's not a dog. No, sorry. Your dog is a Yorkie. That's not a dog. That's like a cat. No one likes cats. Not even God likes cats. I'm just saying. That's just no. You can pick up your dog and carry it. Okay, sorry. Anyways, so Pastor Matt mentioned that I went to the same school he went to, same college he went to, University of Valley Forge. And so one of the things I did when I was there was I traveled on one of their tour teams. Right, they had these teams that would go on tour every summer, and so we would go on tour. And we were on this drama team this one summer, and we would just go from like different churches throughout the summer, different camps and stuff like that, and we do all these different dramas and stuff like that. And so when we would go to a church. Like a family in the church, they would like allow us to stay at their home. They would like give us housing for the night and everything like that. And so like I always would pray like, God, just don't let me be by myself. Because when I was in college, especially when I was in college, I was a crazy introvert. How many of you are introverts? All the introverts, right? Introvert, like super quiet, keep to yourself. You're like. She's not an introvert. She's yelling at the top of her lungs right now. Like anybody who knows, like introverts were like, you barely raise your hand. Okay, how many of you are extroverts, like total extrovert? Yeah, exactly. It's just easy. You're just like, look at me. Okay, so anyway, see, and I say, how many of you are extroverts? And then you just start talking. Okay, shh. Okay, we're done. Okay, so So like I get stuck by myself in this house, right? And I'm like freaking out because I'm like super nervous and I'm like introvert. I'm really shy and everything like that. And so like the guy comes and the husband, I'm gonna stay with this husband and wife, right, in their little apartment and everything. And so the guy comes to the church and he picks me up, right, and he's taking me to their place and I'm like trying to hold a conversation, but I'm like having a hard time doing it. And then we get there to like their little house and everything. And so I'm gonna introduce myself to his wife now, right? Try to do it like, hi, my name is Eran, one of those things. And this guy, he's just trying to be polite. He's just trying to be nice. He's like trying to be a gentleman, whatever. This guy steps in, and he wants to introduce me to his wife. And he's like, honey, this is our guest. He's a student at Valley Forge. He's on their drama team all summer long. His name is Brian. Did you ever have this happen to you? Someone get your name wrong? Like crazy wrong. Like not even in the same alphabet wrong. Different language wrong, right? Like, and I'm like, so I don't know if you know this or not. If maybe you do if this has happened to you. But like, I think there's like this unwritten rule that you only have like so many seconds to like correct the situation. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Right? Okay, you with me, right. Like you gotta like fix it, but you gotta do it right away, because if you wait too long, now it's just awkward. Now it's just like, dude, you just made it really, really bad. And so I'm like trying to figure out, how do I correct this guy who just messed up so bad without embarrassing him, right? All this stuff. And so I'm trying to like figure it out while she's talking, but she's like, no offense to all of like the girls here in the room, but like the guys will know what I'm talking about right now. She's like one of those guys, just pay attention. You know what I'm talking about. She's like one of those girls that when they start talking, they tend to not stop talking for a long, long time. Anybody, you know, with me, right? Whoa, is that you? Everyone's pointing at you right now. Is that you? That's you. Okay, I'm just saying. Like, okay, so she started talking and she's just going at it, and she's like, well, hi, Brian. How you doing, Brian? Nice to meet you, Brian. Where are you from, Brian? Tell me about your family, Brian. I mean, it's just going on and on. Like, she uses my name, not my name, but my name, like 20 times in like a minute. And like at this point, I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm just like stuck. I'm like, I guess you could just call me whatever you want. Just rename me if you want. And like, then I was just like, I'm just gonna roll with it. Like, my name's just Brian. I was like, and so did you ever do this? You let someone call you the wrong name? All right, so you feel my pain. You feel my pain. All night long, this woman just calling me Brian. I'm like, yep, that's me. I'm Brian. Yep. In the morning, she like knocks on the door. Brian, time for breakfast. I'm like, yep, that's me. I'm Brian. Sign me up, right? So now it's like Sunday morning. They're going to take me to church in the morning. I'm just like waiting, like in my head. The clock is, the countdown is on. Like, I can't wait to get away because I'm just so embarrassed that I let this thing go on so long. So I come out in the morning, and they're like her and her husband are sitting there at the little breakfast table, and they made some breakfast. I could smell the bacon. Dear Jesus, I could smell the bacon. You know what I'm talking about, right? This is a good morning, right? I'm just saying. Okay, so, and then as I'm walking up to I realize there's a third person there. And I'm like, I'm thinking, oh my, what am I going to do? Like, because this is what I'm afraid of. You know, some of you already know what I'm afraid of. I'm like thinking to myself, what do I do if she says to me, hi, what's your name? What am I going to say? Right? I don't even know. So, like, I'm nervous, and they introduce me. I'm like, okay, it's good. It's like cool. I'm thinking like it's over. I just got to eat the bacon, eat a lot of bacon. Everything is better when you eat a lot of bacon, right? Right? So I don't like. Do you ever get like bacon on your salad? I don't know if your experience is like mine. But when I put bacon on my salad, it turns into a scavenger hunt just to find the bacon pieces. Like, I don't care about anything else. But I have to find every single one of them, right? You with me? Yeah. So I'm just focused on bacon and not Brian, but like and so we're just going on and on and on. We're talking and everything. They're asking me like, okay, Brian, tell us about your family, Pittsburgh, you know, all this kind of stuff. So out of nowhere, this woman, she says to me, she's like, oh, Brian. I'm like, yeah. She's like, I love your name. I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. Like, that's great. So my parents picked a great name. Like, it was a good one, one of the best of the best. Okay? And I'm just like, I'm thinking this is getting kind of awkward, but they don't know how awkward it is, but this is really awkward. And then she's like, no. She's like, you don't understand. You don't understand. You got to understand why I love your name so much. And I'm like, why is that? She's like, I love your name because my son's name is Brian, and you remind me of my son. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's it's so great. That's all. More bacon, please. Like, I'm thinking, this is terrible. Like, and again, I'm just thinking, like, call me whatever you want at this point. I'm just like, this is just bad. So So I'm thinking it's almost over. And then out of nowhere, she says to me, she says, you know what? I just need to know one thing. I just got to know one thing. She's like, my son, he spells his name B-R-I-A-N. How do you spell yours? Right. What do you do? Like I'm trying to get out of this thing without actually having to confess like that I've been faking this whole thing, and I don't even know what to do. And then I'm thinking like I think that God sent this woman to like make me repent of my sin, and now like what if I'm gonna lie to this woman, I'm gonna have to lie every single consonant and vowel in the alphabet right now. And I did exactly what you just said. I was like B-R-Y-A-N. That's how I spell my name. And like they never even knew. I'm like, I was so embarrassed. I'm thinking, I cannot believe I did this. I let this go on. Now, let me ask you a question real quick. When it comes to like your name, is it okay for you? Would it be all right if like people just called you whatever they want? No, like at some point you're like, I want you to get it right. Like at some point, like you have to like get it right? And so let me ask you another question, like, because sometimes some people kind of make the case that there are a lot of things in life that are all just the same, like just pick whatever you want. So I'm gonna ask you a couple questions real quick. So Marvel, DC, all the same, doesn't really matter, right? Everybody knows Marvel is superior in every way, right? Exactly. Okay. All right. Okay. Let me ask you another one. All soda is the same. Just do whatever you want. Doesn't matter. You agree with that, bro? Seriously? You agree with that? Like, no. Everyone knows that Dr. Pepper is superior, hands down, the world's best. I'm just saying. Okay. Pastor Matt and I last night for dinner went and had sushi. Okay. All right. So sushi lovers, we got any sushi lovers? Okay. Let me see if you agree with this statement right here. All sushi is the same, doesn't matter where you get it from. No, absolutely not. Absolutely. Okay, I got it. So let me ask you this question, right? Let me ask you this question right here, right? All religions are the same. Okay, so not as passionate of a response, but let's just talk about this. This is what I want to talk about tonight for just a couple minutes, right? Because there's this thought that like when it comes to like things like religion, when it comes to things that are like spiritual of nature, there's this thought out there in our culture. There's this thought in like your school. There's this thought, like even some of your friends have this, right? And some of you, maybe you thought about this, maybe you haven't thought about this, but there is this thought out there that's like, you know what? All religions are kind of like the same in the sense that they all get you to the same place when it's all said and done, right? So it would be kind of like this, like my grandfather was a brakeman on the Reading Railroad. Y'all ever play Monopoly? We got any Monopoly champs here? Okay, so you buy Reading Railroad. Some of you thought it was Reading Railroad. It's not. It's the Reading Railroad. I live there. I know we don't spell well or pronounce things well, but it's the Reading Railroad. Okay, so he was a brakeman on the Reading Railroad. And so he would kind of give instructions to people getting on and off passenger trains, right? Some people, when it comes to like religion, their thought is like this. You know what? Religion is like a train. And every boxcar is like a different religion. So you got like your Christian boxcar there, and you can get in that one if you want. You got like your Muslim boxcar right there. You can get in that one if you want. You got like your like Buddhist one over there, and your Hindu one, and you got like all these different things. It does so kind of just pick whichever one you want. Like it's up to you. It's your preference. They're all ultimately going to get you to the same place, right? That's what a lot of people think. That's what a lot of your friends think. Like a lot of your friends. Whether you go to a Christian school, whether you go to a public school or not, a lot of your friends ultimately are kind of like, man, it probably doesn't really matter. Just like pick one, you know, or if you don't want to pick one, that's fine. Just like try to be a good person. Then there's like a good person boxcar over there. Just try to be a good person. Like don't try to do something stupid. Like don't like go out and like do something crazy, right? Just be a good person. Here's another way that people think of it. Okay, so years ago, Pastor Matt, earlier tonight, he was talking about Speed of Light. He was talking about raising money for missions to support like missionaries and things like that. So when I was a youth pastor, one of the things that we did to raise money for missions was we got people to sponsor us to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. So Kilimanjaro is a huge mountain in the continent of Africa in the country of Tanzania. And so we got people to sponsor us to do this. When you climb Kilimanjaro, there's like 6 or 7 different trails you can choose from. like trails that come from the east, from the west, from the north, from the south, trails that are really steep and get you up there really, really fast in just a couple days, trails that are like really long and they kind of wrap around parts of the mountain and they're really slow, right? But ultimately, every single trail ultimately gets you to the same destination. It gets you to the top, to the peak. 19,320 feet, Uhuru Peak is what it's called, right? Ultimately, they all get you there. That's what a lot of people think of when they think about religion. They kind of have this idea that like, well, God's like up there in the mountain somewhere, and he's like at the peak, he's up there in heaven, and you just got to like pick your path. Like choose your way. It doesn't really matter. Like they're all going to kind of get you there like the same way. So this is what I want to talk about tonight, because this gets really, really confusing sometimes. And sometimes some of you have friends and you're just like, man, like my friends are asking really, really difficult questions and I don't have answers to the questions. So during my years of being a youth pastor, I had students that would ask me questions like this. I wrote some of them down here. Students would ask me questions like this. How is it that we could possibly conceive that Jesus is the only way when billions of Buddhists and Muslims would automatically be excluded and therefore damned to hell? Oh, that's a real question. That's tough. Or here's another one. What about the person who lives a moral life but doesn't know Jesus? Like, what happens to them? Like they don't know Jesus. They've never gone to maybe church and heard someone talk about Jesus Christ, the Son of God, who came to the earth, who spread his arms on a cross and allowed himself to be crucified so that he could forgive us of our sins, so that we could have a relationship with God. Like, they've never heard about that. They're a good person. They never really did that, like a lot of crazy bad stuff, but they just don't know Jesus. What happens to them? Or here's another question. What about the tribe in the remotest part of the world where there's like little kids and they've never heard about Jesus? What about them? Which is one of the reasons why we raise money for Speed of Light and for missions, in order to send people there. But like, what happens to them? Or here's one last question. Other religions say they're the right way. How do we know who's right? What if we're the ones that are wrong and they're the ones that are right? These are really tough questions. And they're not just tough questions because like intellectually, like, oh, it's kind of challenging, like that's a lot to think about, right? They're actually really tough questions because we're talking ultimately about the eternal destination of a person's soul. Like, there's people on the other end of all those questions. These just aren't like random, crazy, oh wow, are there UFOs? Like we can speculate and talk about it, right? Like no. We're talking about like these are actual people we're talking about here. These are actual kids that we're talking about here. These are actual people. Some of these people are people that are your friends. Some of these people are people that you go to school with. Some of these people are family members of yours that are like, wow, like what happens to these people? And so it would kind of be easier to kind of make the case, well, it's all the same. All religions are the same. Everything's the same. It just doesn't really matter. Just pick a train, boxcar, whatever. Pick a path. Just get up there. But for you and I to make the assumption or the claim that all religions are the same, it just doesn't make sense. It's like saying all colors are the same. I ask you what your favorite color is. You pick a color, and I'm like, yeah, that's the same as every other color. That's like me saying to you, my name's Eran, and you call me Brian, and I'm like, yeah, I don't care. All names are the same. It doesn't really matter. Just call me whatever you want, right? And so for you and I to do that when it comes to something so important, something like religion, something like the eternal destination of someone's soul, okay, this is a big problem. So I want to talk about it. This is what I want to talk about tonight. And if you got like something to take notes on, you might want to write a couple things down. They're going to put this up on the screen, a couple different notes on you. But I want to talk about like some of the major differences between Christianity and all the other religions in the world. I don't know if you know this or not. There's about 4,200 different religions in the world. That's a lot, right? That's a lot of different thought process. That's a lot of different things. That's a lot of different ways that man has tried to figure out how to in some way, shape, or form get themselves to God or make them feel good. There's Christianity, and then there's like 4,200 different religions in the world. But here's the big differences. Like you could spend a whole semester in college just diving deep into this. I'm going to give you just a real quick differences here. Here's two big differences between Christianity and all the other religions in the world. Everybody ready? Say, I'm ready. Look at your neighbor. Say, wake up. I gotta take you to school tonight, just for a couple minutes. I gotta take you to school tonight, all right? All right, okay, here's, I'm gonna give you two big differences. Here's big difference number one. Everyone say the word legalism. Look at your neighbor and say legalism. Okay, so I'm just real basic understanding of what legalism is, right? Most other religions, not Christianity, most other religions are based out of some form of legalism. Here's what legalism is. Rules that one has to follow in order to earn acceptance. Let me explain it like this. How many of you have seen any version of the movie Beauty and the Beast? Anyone? Anyone? Okay, we got some fans. How many of you can sing the song right now? Okay, that's definitely not it. I don't know what you were singing, but thanks for trying. I knew the twins. I knew the twins would have it. They knew the twins have it. Okay, so then, like, if you've seen the movie, then you kind of know, like, the idea ultimately it centers around this dude. He gets cursed. He becomes the beast, and there's this rose that's underneath, like, the glass vase, right? And he has until the last rose petal drops in order to what? Get somebody to love him. And then this woman named Belle shows up at the house, and he's, like, trying to do what? Get her to fall in love with him. So it's kind of like, think of it like this. I'm not telling you not to watch the movie. I'm not even saying the movie's bad. But this whole idea of the movie is kind of like this romanticized version of legalism. It's like you're the beast. And like you got to get that woman to love you in order to get the curse off of you. And so you need to like follow the rules and do everything just right in order to what? Get her to accept you or get her to accept him, right? That's kind of what legalism is like. Legalism in a religious point of view is kind of like this. God's mad at you, and you got to figure out how to make him happy. And the only way you're going to get God to be happy with you is if you like do all the right stuff. And then maybe, just maybe, when you die and you stand before this God, maybe he'll be like, okay, you followed all the rules, you did a great job, you're in. Or maybe he'll say, I'm still mad at you, get out of here. That's legalism. And most of the 4,200 different religions out there, other than Christianity, have some form of legalism involved in them. Everyone say legalism. Okay, here's the next one. Everyone say, number two, this is called fatalism. Everyone say fatalism. So fatalism says this. Fatalism says your destiny, as in your eternal destiny, as in when you die, when your physical body dies, the soul that remains, right? It's already been predetermined what happens to you. So it doesn't therefore really matter what you do in your physical body that you're living in right now. You can do whatever you want to do. It's already been predetermined. Doesn't really matter. Like just kind of make up life, figure out how to live your life. You do you, boo. Like you just do your thing. Figure out how to be happy. Figure out how to just, because when it's all said and done, you can't really determine what happens to you after you die. There's just going to be some random something, who knows, out there, God, who's basically just going to say, okay, here's what happens to you now, and there's nothing that you can do in order to change that. Most religions, 4,200 of them, most of them have some form of one or both of those, legalism and fatalism. Here's the big difference between 4,200 different religions and Christianity. There's a lot. I'm just going to give you one of the big ones, one of the most important ones. It's called this, free will. Everyone say free will. Everyone look at your neighbor and say free will. Look at your other neighbor and say you get to choose. Oh, you did really, really good there, the two of you. I can tell you guys like each other. You guys friends or something like that? Yeah, right, okay. So, Christianity is based on free will. And free will says this. Free will says you get to decide, you get to choose whether you want to have a relationship with God or not. Right? And when you choose or when you decide, I'm going to have a relationship with God, I'm going to accept that the Bible is true, I'm going to accept that God is God, I'm going to accept that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, I'm going to accept that Jesus Christ came from heaven to earth, lived a sinless, perfect life on earth, allowed himself to die on a cross so that he could forgive me of my sin and everyone past, present, and future, right? So he could offer forgiveness to us so that we could have a relationship with God. I get to choose that. Legalism doesn't do that for you. Legalism says, well, you don't have any choice at all. Just follow the rules, right? Fatalism doesn't give you any choice. Fatalism says, no, it's already predetermined. It doesn't really matter. Do whatever you want to do. Live however you want to live because someone else is going to make the decision for you. When God created mankind, when God created you and I, right, he basically said, I want to have a relationship with you, but you get to choose. This is really important. The whole premise of this is really important. Let me explain it to you real quick, right? Can you have a loving relationship? Let me ask you this question. Can you have a loving relationship with another person without free will? No, because you have to choose. You have to choose. Like, look at your neighbor right now and just tell them, like, I choose to be your friend. You guys are way too excited about that, right? That's really, right? Like, I chose my wife, and my wife chose me. No one forced us. No one told us, you two right there, you have to be married. And you have, like, no, you get to choose. You get to choose. So the same thing is true in your relationship with God. It's your choice. You get to choose. Why is that important? Because God, listen to me. God in his great love said this, I want to have a relationship with you, but you have to choose whether you want to have a relationship with me. So all religions ultimately aren't the same. In fact, Christianity is wildly different than all of the other ones just simply because of free will. But let me just kind of break down and give you a couple other thoughts, because Jesus comes along in the New Testament and he says this one thing. He says this one verse. He says in John chapter 14, verse 6, he says this. He says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes unto the Father except through me. Now, a lot of people in culture, a lot of people in our world, a lot of people, that when they would read that verse, they'd be like, that's terrible. Like, how could Jesus say something like that? That's so narrow-minded. That's so intolerant. That's so bigoted. That's just like so. In today's culture, they would just add all the words like that's racist. That's misogynist. That's everything, right? Like, how in the world could Jesus say that, right? Because it sounds like this exclusive statement, right? It sounds like Jesus is basically saying, yo, we better than everyone else, right? That's all there is to it. The rest of you just forget about you, and no one gets to heaven except through me, because it's almost like this, like really, really like high uppity bougie country club mentality or something like that, right? But listen, we kind of choke on it because the idea of when Jesus says, I'm the way, the truth, and life, no one comes to the Father except through me, it sounds very exclusive. It sounds like, oh, you have to be in the club. Like you gotta you gotta do things right. So I'm gonna walk four different things with you real quick. This is gonna be really, really quick. But just like four things you need to like pay attention to these, right? Because at some point, some of you have already had conversations like this with some of your friends. Right? Some of you like tried to invite a friend to come to youth group, and they said something to you like, "Hey, bro, man, that's good for you. That's cool for you. That's not really for me." Or like some of you have tried to share your faith with your friends, like you've tried to talk with your friends about Christ or about the Bible, and they're just kind of like, "Hey, man, listen, that's cool for you. Like you got your truth, I got my truth. It's all good. Like you got." What are they saying? You've got your path and your way to get to God. I kind of got mine. I'm still figuring it out. You do you. I'll do me. It's all good, right? Right? And some of you have actually gotten into like debates or arguments with your friends because your friends have been like, how you Christians, like you guys are so narrow-minded, you're so legalistic and intolerant and like how can you even like believe like why can't you just get along with all the other religions out there and just own the fact that they're all ultimately the same? Let me give you four just quick reminders about Christians and Christianity being exclusive. Here's reminder number one. Jesus said it, not us. Jesus said it. I didn't say I'm the way, the truth, and the life. Jesus said I'm the way, the truth, and the life. So ultimately, if you have a problem with that, friend, go talk to Jesus about it. Go have a heartfelt conversation and say, why is this the way? Right? Jesus is the one who said it. Number two. I told you these are going to be really quick. Number two, Christianity is not the only religion that claims some form of exclusivity. See, like a lot of people buy into the lie. They buy the lie that ultimately all religions are okay with the idea that we're all the same except for Christians. That's not true. You haven't done your homework, friend. You need to spend a little bit more time actually doing research, and this is what you'll find. Most religions claim some form of exclusivity. most have something that they say in there that's just like, oh, no, we're exclusive. And say, but you and I don't like that because like in American culture, we don't like the idea of anything that's like exclusive, that's intolerant, that's not just like open and welcoming and loving for all people and all ways of life and all belief systems and things like that. But you know what we're really struggling with? Here's the reason why sometimes you and I, even as Christian kids, those of you that have been in church your whole life, maybe some of you are new, but those of you in church your whole life, you kind of be like, I don't like the idea of exclusivity. You know why? The real thing you're questioning is your view of God. Like if you wrestle with the idea of exclusivity, what you're really wrestling with is the question, is Jesus the Son of God? Is Jesus God? If you see Jesus as God, then you have placed him at his rightful place. And the higher you elevate Jesus where he should be, the easier it is for you to be okay with, if he's God, then he's God. He can make it be however he wants to make it. If you struggle with exclusivity, it just simply means you've lowered your view of Jesus. And now you see Jesus as like, he's just like one of the dudes. It's like Jesus, and then there's like Muhammad, and then there's like some dude named Buddha, and then there's all these other religious leaders over there, and they're all kind of like the same. And people that follow Jesus just want to try to make him be better than everyone else. You've lowered your view of Jesus. Right? So all religions, or most religions, claim some form of exclusivity. If you struggle with this idea, it just means that like you got to do some heart wrestling, and you have to say, well, what's my view of Jesus? What do I really believe about Jesus? Let me give you two more real quick. Number 3, truth by its very nature is exclusive. Truth by its very nature is exclusive. What does that mean? It means if you decide, again, you got free will. If you decide to believe in truth, then with it, you have to agree to the definition that truth is exclusive because it's defined by God and God alone. It's not my truth or your truth. It's the truth and then your opinion or my opinion, right? So if I choose truth, then I have to choose truth, right? Like think of it like that. How many of you drive? How many drive cars? Okay, all right, okay. How many of you drive cars and you are constantly playing this little game? The game that is when you try to see how far you can drive the car when the gas gauge is on the letter E, and you want to see how far you can go past the letter E and still be able to drive. Anybody, you do this all the time, and we all know why you do it, because you want your mom and dad to actually pay to fill up the gas tank, right? I'm just saying. Okay, so how many of you, some of you young adults are just like, yes, I actually know how far below I can go before I'm really in trouble, right? Okay. So just imagine the scenario then real quick. So it's like one night you're driving the car around and it's like low. I mean, it's real low. It's like lower than it's ever been before. So finally you decide, I got to stop. And you stop at some random gas station you've never stopped at before. And you know that your car takes 10 gallons of gas and that's all that it takes. And the sign over there says that it's $2 a gallon. Now, wouldn't that be a miracle? We would love that right now. Like we'd be like, praise Jesus for $2 a gallon, right? And so you're like, that's perfect because all I got's $20. And so you fill it up. Right? Or they fill it up for you, and then the guy's like, hey man, that's gonna be $80. And you're like, no, it's gonna be $20. And he's like, no, you got $10. You like it's $80. And you're like, well, no, I only got 10 gallons of gas. And he's like, oh no, you got 40 gallons of gas. And you're like, no, that's actually impossible, because my gas tank doesn't even hold 40 gallons of gas. My gas tank only holds 10 gallons of gas, so I don't know what you're talking about. Might be something wrong with your gauge or whatever. And he was like, oh, you've never gotten gas here before, have you? You're like, no, what does that have to do with anything? And he says, well, we have like a different measuring system here. So what is a gallon for other people is really just like a quart for us. And so we just kind of do things different. Like, so you actually owe me $80. You'd be like, that's not fair. That's not right. You'd be like, you can't do that. You can't just change the truth, right? I'm just trying to help you think through it because some of you have kind of bought into this idea of like, well, I can kind of just pick and choose. Like I can just make religion be whatever I want it to be. No. That's your opinion. That's not the truth. And if you choose, again, your free will, if you choose truth, then you're choosing to believe, I don't define truth. Truth is defined for me by God. So truth by its very nature is exclusive. Let me give you one last one here real quick, all right? Number 4, Jesus is inclusive to everyone. Jesus is inclusive to everyone. So let's just roll back to this verse real quick. Put John 14:6 back up on the screen. Band, you can come on up and join, but we're going to be done here in just a minute. Truth by its very nature is exclusive to everyone. Sorry, I said that wrong. Jesus is inclusive to everyone. That's what I was trying to say. So Jesus says, John 14:6. Put John 14:6 back up for me. He says, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father except for me. Jesus is talking to his disciples when he says this, right? The guys that are following him. So let me kind of break it down like this for you. It's almost like Jesus is saying to his disciples, hey guys, I got good news and I got bad news. How many of you have had your parents say that to you at some point? I got good news, I got bad news. Okay. So how many of you are like give me the bad news first type person? Okay. How many of you are like, no, give me the good news first, and then I'm going to run away because I'm not even going to listen to the bad news? Okay. So this is kind of how I see this verse. Like Jesus is like talking to the guys. He's like, guys, I got good news, I got bad news. He's like, I'm going to give you the bad news first. Here's the bad news. The bad news is all those other religious leaders that people talk about, they ain't coming for you. They don't care. Like they're not like they just like you can go to them if you want, you can try to figure it out, you can try to do everything right, you can just but they're not coming for you. Like they're not coming to rescue you. They're not coming to like save you. Like they're not coming to help you. So bad news, guys. Like no one's really coming. None of them are coming for you. None of them are here to help. But I got good news too. Here's the good news, guys. I came. I came when no one else was willing to come. I came when no one else was willing to make the sacrifice. I came when no one else cared. I came. See, we can stumble over a verse like, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes unto the Father except through me. But when we stumble over it, we miss the fact that somebody did come, and it was Jesus. And he was the only one that actually came. See, when Jesus makes this statement, Jesus wasn't like, oh, I'm going to make it as hard and difficult for people to have a relationship with God as possible. I'm going to give them rules that they got to follow. I'm going to predetermine things about their life that they have no choice over. No. Jesus wasn't making it difficult. Jesus wasn't making it narrow. Jesus was busting the wall down. Jesus was busting the gate wide open. Jesus was making a way where there was no way, friend. You and I are asking the wrong question when we say, why is it that Jesus is the only way? That's the wrong question. You should be asking the question, why is there a way at all to get to God? And when you ask that question, you discover, wow, the only reason why is because a guy named Jesus, the Son of God himself, came and made a way where there was no way. It's totally different. That message right there, listen to me, young person, that message right there has been preached around the world time and time and time and time again, generation after generation after generation. Because young people like yourself have decided, wow, I believe that Jesus Christ is the only way. And since I believe that, it now motivates me to say other people need to hear this. When the disciples heard this, the original 12, when the disciples heard this, they said, we've got to take that message right there, and we've got to spread that around the world. And ultimately, that's what they did. And when you study other history books, you discover that every single one of the disciples, after Jesus died on the cross, was resurrected from the grave, then ascended to heaven days later, you discover that the disciples did exactly that. They took the gospel message all around the world. They took it into different countries. They took it into India. They took it into Africa. They took it everywhere. Do you know what's happening now? Because the disciples did this thousands of years ago, do you understand what's happening now? Every single day in our world, about 80,000 people find Jesus Christ as their personal Savior for the very first time. Why? Because the gospel works. The gospel is what Jesus did on the cross. Every day, over 500 brand new churches are planted around the world because the gospel still works. Do you know? You probably don't know this. For the first time in the history of mankind, the Christian church in China, the underground Christian church in China, is now officially greater in numbers than the Communist Party of China. Why? Because the gospel works. In Africa, in the early 1900s, there were just a handful, I say handful, it was just a couple million believers, probably about 7 million or so believers on the continent of Africa in the early 1900s. Do you know how many believers are there now because of the gospel? Over 550 million believers on the continent of Africa. The gospel works. It works. And so when you and I understand what the disciples understood in John chapter 14, verse 6, when Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Your only appropriate response is the same response that the disciples had. And what the disciples did was they said this. They said, okay, Jesus, I'll go where you want me to go. I'll do what you want me to do. I'll say whatever you want me to say. I'll be who you want me to be. I'll take the gospel. I'll take you, Jesus, wherever you want me to go. You know, that's what a Welsh missionary did in the 19th century. There was a Welsh missionary who said, Jesus, I'll go wherever you want me to go. I'll do whatever you want me to do. I'll say whatever you want me to say. And God led him to the nation of India. He went to a region in the nation of India, a northeast region, and a region called Assam, and he began to preach the gospel. And there was one family, one father of one family, that received the message, and they converted. They left Hinduism, which was the religion that they were in, and they said, I want to accept Jesus Christ as personal Savior. Not long after that, that missionary left. He went back home, and that one family still remained. And when the tribal leaders and the elders of the local tribe found out that this family had left Hinduism and come to Christianity, they came to them and they demanded that they recant their newfound faith in Christianity. They demanded that they reject Jesus and that they come back to Hinduism. And so they came to this man's house and they pounded on the door, and he opened up the door, and they said, we demand you come back to Hinduism. And he said, I won't do it. I won't do it. And they said, you have to. You have no choice. And they threatened him. They said this to him. They said, if you don't come back to the ways of Hinduism, we will martyr, that means kill, martyr your children right here, right now in front of you. He said these words. These words have since been turned into a song that has been sung probably hundreds of thousands of times in churches all around the world. He said these words, I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back. They martyred the man's kids right in front of him. They said to him, you've lost your children. Now you'll lose your wife unless you recant your faith. He said these words, the cross before me, the world behind me. I've decided to follow Jesus. And they martyred his wife. And then they said to him, you've lost everything. It's just you, but you can save yourself now. Leave Christianity, come back to Hinduism. And he said these words, though none go with me, still I will follow. And they martyred him. They thought they were stamping out Christianity, but the blood that they shed that day, that family actually spread the gospel. And it was not very long after that the elder himself, the tribal elder that had initiated all of this, that the tribal elder repented and found Jesus Christ as his Savior. And when he did that, all of his other elders began to find Jesus, and a revival broke out in that part of the country, that part of the world, simply because of the commitment of one man and his family. So here's my question to you. Would you be willing to make the commitment that the disciples made that sounds like this? Jesus, I'll go where you want me to go. I'll do what you want me to do. I'll say what you want me to say. I'll be who you want me to be. Anywhere, everywhere, anytime, Jesus, sign me up. I'm all yours. What does that look like? That looks like you probably being a lot more intentional about inviting your friends to church and to the source. What does that look like? It looks like you probably being a lot more intentional about saying, you know what, I want to start a Bible club or a campus on my school. What does that look like? That looks like you saying, you know what, Pastor Matt's talking about speed of light. Pastor Matt's talking about missions, and I want to help send the gospel around the world. I can't go to all those places, but I can help support other people who are going to go those places. So that looks like you saying, man, I'm gonna go through them, and so I'm gonna raise some money, and I'm gonna give, and I'm gonna go. What does that look like? That looks like some of you finally being willing to share your faith with your friends that you've been going to school with for your entire life, but you still have yet to tell them that you actually believe in Jesus Christ. Everybody bow your heads, close your eyes. So I want to give you an invitation real quick. If you're here in the room and you say, Pastor Eran, tonight I'm making a decision to do whatever Jesus wants me to do. I'll go where he wants me to go. I'll do what he wants me to do. I'll say what he wants me to say. I'll be who he wants me to be anywhere, anytime, every time. Jesus Christ did not die publicly on a cross so that you and I could live privately for him. Jesus Christ surrendered everything publicly with the expectation that you and I, as followers of Christ, would be willing to do the same thing. So if you're here in the room today, I'm going to count to 3. You say, I'm going to make this commitment. I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not going to shout you down. I'm not going to convince you to make this decision, because this decision goes far beyond the way you respond right now. This decision turns into tomorrow morning and next week and next month and the next year of your life. But you're here today and you say, I sign up for that. I'm ready. I'll go wherever, whenever. I'll be whoever. On the count of 3, I want you to stand to your feet, and I want you to walk forward around the front. And I'm going to ask Pastor Matt, Pastor Justin, and Pastor Russ, and some of the leaders that are here to come on up front right now, because we're just going to lay hands on students for a couple minutes and pray for those that are making this commitment. And so leaders, if you could kind of position yourself, come on up right now. But students, you're here and you say, that's me, Pastor Aaron. I'm ready. I'll do it. I'll go wherever, whenever. I'm going to be the person you want me to be. On the count of 3, very publicly now, you're going to say, that's me. I'm signing up for that. I'll go wherever, whenever. For some of you, you might be making a decision tonight to follow after Jesus for the very first time. That's awesome. That's great. For some of you, you might be saying, I've been following Jesus for years, but tonight I feel like God's calling me into ministry, like Pastor Matt was talking about earlier when he was 7 years old. I was called to ministry when I was 14. Right? So some of you might be like, man, I feel like right now God's telling me I'm going to be a pastor. God's telling me I'm going to be a church planter. God's telling me I'm going to be a missionary somewhere. I'm going to be an evangelist. But ultimately, all of you are having the opportunity right now to simply say, Jesus, I'm all yours. I surrender. I'll go wherever you want me to go. On the count of 3, you stand to your feet, you come forward, let one of these leaders lay hands on you and pray for you. 1, 2, 3. Come on, right now. Right now. Right now. Come on. Come on. Come on. We'll just wait just a couple seconds to let you get up here. Come on, and spread out and kind of go over to some of the leaders over here. Let some of them pray with you. Yep. Come on, just walk right up to one of the leaders. Leaders, go ahead and just take a moment and pray with each student, right? Pray for them by name if you can do that, if you know their name. And we're just going to take a couple minutes. Pastor Matt will come in just a moment, and he'll close us out. But just for the next couple minutes, we're just going to pray, and we're just going to ask students. Go ahead, leaders. You can start praying with students right now. You can start praying with students right now. So leaders, go ahead and step in and meet with a student. But we're just going to take a moment. We're going to pray with students, and we're just going to say, God, you touch these students that are surrendering their life to you. Guys, go ahead and sing.
Here I am. Here I am. You can have it all. You can have it all. Here I am. Here I am. You can have it all. You can have it all. Here I am. Here I am. You can have it all. You can have it all. Here I am. Here I am. You can have it all. You can have it all. Here I am. Here I am. You can have it all. You can have it all. And I hear you call. I am available. I say, yes, Lord, I am available. And I hear you call. I am available. And I say, yes, Lord, I am available. And I hear you call. I am available. I say, yes, Lord, I am available. have it all. You can have it all. Here I am. Here I am. You can have it all. You can have it all. Here I am. Here I am. You can have it all. You can have it all. Here I am. Here I am. You can have it all. You can have it all. You can have it all. Everything I am, Lord, everything I have, you can have it. You can have it all. I hear you call. I am available. I say, yes, Lord. I am available. I give myself away. I give myself away so you can use me. I give myself away. I give myself away so you can use me. I give myself away. Oh, I give myself away so you can use me. I give myself away. I give myself away so you can use me. I give myself away. I give myself away so you can use me. I give myself away. Oh, I give myself away so you can use me. I give myself away. I give myself away so you can use me. I give myself away. Give it all to you, Lord. I give myself away so you can use me. I give myself away.
Well, our time has come to an end. We are a little over time, but I thank you guys for hanging in there and hanging on. If you guys appreciated Pastor Eran and his ministry, just clap it up for him one time. Thank you, Pastor Eran, for ministering tonight. In the back on your way out, he's got some really cool merch. He's got some information about the Leadership Academy. If you're a junior or senior especially, you're going to want to stop at that table. We are signing off online. If you want information about the Speed the Light Tour or Fine Arts, you can go ahead and stop in the back. Listen, we love you guys. It's good to see all of you guys coming back out. Come out next week. Bring a friend. It's going to be a great service, and you're not going to want to miss it. So God bless you guys. Be safe. Be well. We love you. Until next week, God bless.